Hi. About 3 months ago, I noted on my Facebook page that I just completed treatment for vertigo. Vertigo is a condition where everything spins. You're not just dizzy, everything actually spins around. Your eyes show rapid movement, and the rapid movement of your eyes is what makes the spinning. I had a form of vertigo called benign paroxysmal positional vertigo. It's not life-threatening. It's a form of vertigo that can be incapacitating, although you don't die from it. Some forms of vertigo are caused by other conditions such as stroke or other inner ear conditions or fluid buildup in the inner ear, things like that. I had a positional type of vertigo. I first noticed it one night. I rolled over in bed and the room started spinning. So I quick rolled back to my original position and the vertigo went away. But when I got up the next morning, I didn't feel very good. And I felt out of sorts for almost 2 weeks. And if I moved my head sudden, I felt some dizziness, and I didn't feel all that great. Well, eventually it cleared up. And after it cleared up, then I felt I was going to be fine. Then about 6 months later, the same thing happened. And this time the dizziness lasted for almost 3 weeks. And eventually it cleared up again, so I didn't know exactly what was going on. But I thought I was okay. And then, about a year later, on a trip to Oregon with some friends, it had hit me the night before and I couldn't drive. And so my friends had to drive. And I did not have a real good trip. Then I went on a trip to Europe with my friend Larry, and it hit me in Germany one night, and the next day I could not drive a car. And so we were going down the Autobahn at over 100 miles an hour, and I was the passenger gripping the armrest very tightly. The vertigo was a problem. Eventually I found out that I probably had this positional type vertigo, and there was a cure for it, or well, sort of a cure, or treatment. But the treatment involved inducing vertigo to see where the problem was. And I hated the feeling of vertigo, so I figured, well, maybe I can just handle it myself. I also heard that these things that cause it would dissolve after a while, because what was causing it was little flakes in my inner ear. The inner ear has 3 tubes or canals. They're lined with hairs and filled with fluid. And the movement of the fluid tells your brain what you're up to, how you're turning your head. The signals go to your brain. Well, the one canal goes this way, that's left to right, another one goes front to back, and there's a horizontal one. And they all meet at an area where it's full of like a gelatin and little flakes of calcium carbonate. And these little flakes of calcium carbonate in the gelatin are used as gravity sensors, and the brain depends on those to tell what direction gravity is acting in. Well, once in a while, if one of those flakes gets out of that gelatin and into one of the canals, you have an issue. And the issue is that that flake will irritate the little hairs in the canal. Your brain doesn't know what's going on, and it tries to figure out what's going on, and you end up suffering vertigo as that flake is irritating the hairs. Once the flake settles down, the vertigo stops. But if the flake stays in the area, you're going to feel the effects of it for up to a couple of weeks until it dissolves. Well, I kept laying on my left side. I had 1 or 2 more instances. I even had an instance outside one time. I bent over to look under the car, and I had vertigo hit me. But I figured, well, I wasn't going to have a 100% quality of life, but I could still live with it. And then it got to the point where it hit me in a dental chair when I went for a cleaning. I went for a visit to a doctor. I couldn't lay down on the examination table. And so I had to go in and get it checked. So my first trip was just fact-finding, and she wanted to start work right away, but I put her off. I know I have to prepare myself. So about 3 weeks later, I went in for my first treatment, because she had told me it was just going to get worse. It wasn't going to get better. And my first treatment, she induced the vertigo and watched my eye movement, and she could tell what flakes were present in my canal, where they were, and what they were doing. And she determined there was a large mass at the one end of my horizontal canal. It had been collecting over the years, and that was a major problem. It was the least common type of that BPPV vertigo, and of course I would get the least common type. And I also had the most severe case of it that she'd ever seen. And so we had to get those things loose somehow. Now, when she first induced the vertigo to see what was wrong, it lasted over 30 seconds, and it was not a very nice feeling. And then the first treatment got some things moving around, but it did not really do much to that mass. It was just too tight. So we ended up actually slamming me down into a pillow on my side to knock the flakes loose. And each time we did it, it knocked some of them loose. The first time knocked a big chunk loose, and the vertigo lasted a minute and a half as that chunk tumbled down that canal back into where it belonged. But that was the worst one. After that, each one, the vertigo was less and less. Normally, you need 2 to 3 trips to clear this up. I took 10 trips. And each trip, the vertigo was not as bad, until finally the 10th trip, it was cleared up, my tubes were clean. I've been told that this can stay clean for up to 5 years with a 50% recurrence rate. And if it doesn't recur, I could be good for the rest of my life. If it does recur, it could recur within 5 years. And what I have to do is, if I roll over in bed or anything like that and get the vertigo back, I have to go in, and she can probably clear it up right in that one visit. You got to catch it early, and then it's relatively easy to clear up, and the vertigo is not so bad. One of the problems with vertigo is nausea, and I was lucky. I didn't get the nausea. I didn't do any throwing up. Some people do. But once you have this cleared up, your quality of life is a lot better. I find myself still sleeping on my right side, still doing things as if I have to worry about the vertigo, but that's because I've been doing it for over 10 years. I slept on my right side for 10 years without moving. I crawl into bed, lay on my right side, and right there in the morning I was still in the same position. I didn't get vertigo attacks doing that, but during the day I had to be careful, because if I bent over the wrong way I could get a vertigo attack, and the condition just got worse. And I think maybe lying on my right side allowed some extra flakes to settle down if I got that big mass at one end of the canal. So if you're having any issue with vertigo, and if they reoccur, I suggest you look into getting it taken care of. The vertigo they induce is annoying, but it's under their supervision. They know what they're doing, and they'll get it cleared up for you, and then you don't have to worry about it again. Otherwise, you're always worried about this vertigo. And I tell you, if you have the vertigo attacks at all, you go up a ladder, you could find yourself laying on the ground with a bad injury. So if you have any questions or anything, talk to your doctor, and try to get taken care of. Vertigo is a terrible thing to live with.